Welcome to NJ Today. I'm Assemblyman John McKeon, and during the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be joined by some of the most fascinating movers and shakers in New Jersey. From the power of politics to the power of progress. You'll see it all right here. But joining me first is one of the brightest stars in the state. I'm honored to introduce my friend and Maplewood resident, Attorney General Paula Dow. Paula, welcome to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Hey, thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule. You know, we were talking off camera, and you are the head of the largest law firm in the state of New Jersey. 600 attorneys, give or take?
It's 600, and overall, you know, between the state police and our other employees, it's over close to 7,000 employees.
Wow. How do you just, and I know you've got a great administrative background as a part of your history, but boy, just the bureaucracy of managing 7,000 people alone, how do you deal with that?
It really is a challenge. You have to learn a new system. I have great people that work with me that help me compartmentalize it, and that are literally the pros on the ground that keep me advised of what's going on.
Well, speaking of pros, you know, your career actually started in private industry, and then you moved to the Southern District in the U.S. Attorney's Office, and then to our own United States Attorney's Office, where you worked with Governor Christie.
That's right. That's right.
And then when something that hadn't been managed very well, you had stepped into the Essex County prosecutor's situation and really made a big difference there.
That's right. I out of law school, University of Pennsylvania, went to work with Exxon Corporation in Houston, Texas, which was an experience. And from there, I moved to the Southern District of New York, working on the civil side and the criminal side in New Jersey at the United States Attorney's Office. I got the opportunity then to be considered as Essex County prosecutor, where I worked here in our own Essex County for 6 years before becoming AG.
And speaking of our own Essex County, you mentioned in the opening, Maplewood resident. You have two amazing sons that go right to Columbia High School, and I know how proud you are of them. Very
much. I've got an 11th grader and a 6th grader. And my 11th grader is on the JV team for soccer at Columbia. One of their great sports there.
They surely are, and wonderful education for many years too.
Right.
Wait, now taking over the Attorney General's job along with the Christie administration coming in, it's been about a year and a half now. You know, it's a colossal undertaking. You know, dealing certainly with your primary mission, and that's to make certain that we're all safe and sound here in this great garden state. How do you see things progressing in that regard?
I think we've had a great first year. We're really proud of a lot of advancements we're taking, and now we're really in the mood for tackling some new initiatives in the second. Last year, we're proud to announce that we had some major public corruption prosecutions. We tackled gangs and organized crimes.
The Passaic Valley is one of them that's very topical that you're in the middle of and still investigating.
That's right, that's right. And that's an area of concern. We're looking to address the issues of entitlement and people taking advantage of situations. But we're so much more, and that's an important part of what we do. We have a major civil side of us that's been really aggressive in collecting fines and monies for the consumers who've been wronged throughout New Jersey. And in many ways, people don't know that that's another side of the Attorney General's office, a large consumer consumer division that focuses on the needs of people out there right in the streets who so depend upon us for everything from hairdressers to physicians to cosmetology to trucks running down our roads.
Yeah, and it is very interesting because you never think of the AG's office, you think criminal right away.
That's right.
But as it relates to all the civil components of what goes on out there, beside consumer advocacy, that's another part of your responsibilities.
It sure is. Civil rights is another area too. And you know, today one of the topical areas that everyone's talking about is the issue of bullying in our schools and how it's affecting our youth, and that's an area that we're taking a lot of attention to.
I'm really glad that you brought that up. Myself, along with many of my colleagues in the legislature, in the wake of the Tyler Clementi disaster, had put new law into place, and now we make the laws, so to speak, and now we're dealing with the person that's going to enforce them. Tell me about some of those initiatives and why it's personally important to you.
Well, you mentioned about the Tyler Clementi case that not only shook the Rutgers campus in New Jersey, but pretty much all of America. We got calls about that, and we realized it's time to focus on this new medium of technology and how it's really being abused and hurting our children in the bullying area. With the legislation that you brought on board, our challenge now is to make sure it's implemented, and that's what I'm taking very seriously. We're going to be mainly through the, a large part through the prosecutor's offices that I oversee, I'm working with the school superintendents and the school districts to make sure that they have aggressive programs to identify the problem, to tap down readily, and in appropriate instances to bring law enforcement in to address them, both on the criminal side as well as our Civil Rights Division addresses this area.
Sure. Well, now shifting total gears, but going to, the primary reason I think we're all here in government is to keep people safe.
That's right.
And as we're all concerned, rightfully so, with with budgets and being able to serve the taxpayers the best we can, there's a lot of buzz about law enforcement taking a hit, and will people be left safe? What kind of initiatives do you have going to make certain that is the case? Some consolidation of departments, other things?
Well, everyone knows that a number of the major police departments are facing downsizings during these critical times, and it's my job to work with them. I've been working and I've already had conversations with the mayors of the major cities, working closely with Mayor Red down in Camden, Mayor Cory Booker here, Newark, to address how we can provide backup in terms of technological advances. We're looking at how we consolidate programs that we have that address law enforcement, and how I, as Attorney General, can make a holistic approach throughout the state to address crime. Some of the issues we're looking at, perhaps consolidating police forces, consolidating how they are addressed on a major initiative. And we're working with the governor and the Consumer Division Affairs that oversees this to look at new approaches.
Well, speaking of a problem that needs to be dealt with, and you did a wonderful job in Essex in focusing on it, are gangs and gang-related crimes. What kind of initiatives and thoughts do you have as our chief executive, if you will, from a law enforcement perspective?
You may know that the state police just issued its biannual report on gangs, and we recognize through that report, which is known by pretty much everyone here, gangs are here, they're present and need to be addressed, and that remains a major initiative with ours. I have Steve Taylor, who heads up our Criminal Justice Division, and he's been very aggressive in addressing it through prosecutions that are ongoing right now. And in addition, I think that we always will stay aggressive with the prosecutions, and we're doing it at the state level and by coordinating the county prosecutors. But we're also looking at in terms of attacking the youth's problem and program issues.
I'm glad that
I think that's
that up.
what we're going to go to in this year and look at.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because as I'm thinking of you, how accomplished you are and how bright, and at the end of the day, the thing I love about you most is you're a great mom. And I think you bring some of that feeling to going to the root of some of these problems with gangs and crime, for that matter, and so talk about that.
Well, I do bring, I think, that initiative of having two sons growing up in an active urban area, a suburban area mixed. We have a number of initiatives looking at addressing issues that we can help children. You know, one exciting one is ongoing is the development of the Armory down in Atlantic City, which we're hoping to make a place where kids can come to play off the streets. Kids can come and do tutoring after school. In very much, we're looking at mimicking in New Jersey the Harlem school zone models and a very successful armory they have there. I think we can bring that model to New Jersey and help cities that are in transition and ultimately have a positive impact on reducing crime.
Well, I know that you've had a positive impact both on the character of our citizens, on persons like me who greatly respect you, and all of the citizens in the state. So thank you for your efforts. I know that you'll continue to serve us well, and I look forward to doing what I can as a member of the legislature to support you.
John, thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you very much.